So hello there, and welcome to biology at QE. My name's Sven Wardle. I'm the course leader of biology, and I'm talking to you from home this evening. I'm just waiting for the number of attendees to settle down before I give you a little tour of just a little bit of an introduction, I guess, a bit of background, and then I'll start answering questions. So hopefully you've got some questions, and hopefully I can help you and give you some information this evening. So we're up to 50 or so participants now. It looks as though we're settling down. So at the moment I'm sharing my screen with you, and I'm on the QE website, and I've clicked through to the virtual open evenings, and we're on the biology part of that. And I just kind of encourage you to really have a look here. There's some good information here. There's a little kind of introductory video from myself. So I don't know whether you've watched that already, but I certainly encourage you to do that. There's a couple of our students who have got a little bit to say about biology. But then I would also encourage you strongly to click through to the subject website. So I'll just do that now, and this has got a great deal of information about the biology course, including some kind of admin information, I guess. So some information about how the course is structured, how the course is assessed, the content of the different modules, the practical side of the course, which is something that I'm sure there'll be some questions about. It's also got some information about the kind of resources that we encourage students to use, and there's a huge diversity of resources that students have access to. We've also got quite an interesting page in terms of what's it like, and I think that's one of the big things for people tonight to say, you know, what's studying biology like. And we polled lots and lots of students last year and gathered lots and lots of their answers, and we, you know, haven't really censored it. We've made sure that these answers here give you a really realistic picture of what it's like to be a biology student. So really encourage you to have a look at those kind of students' answers. So here, if we pull these down, there's some really great, very perceptive, kind of real answers from real students. So it makes for some really good reading, actually, that does. And then there's some information about links and suggested reading, and then progression after A-level, and progression into employment. And then there's some FAQs about the current situation, and then some contacts, and a bit of information about the staff in the department. So we really encourage you to have a look through this website, and it gives you, I hope, a feel for the course. Yeah, okay. So that's just a little bit of information from me. I wonder whether I can see I've got my kind of question list over here on my other screen, and there aren't any open questions at the moment. So I encourage, if you've got any questions, then do fire away, and I'll do my best to answer them. I'll just give people a couple of moments to think of any questions if they have some. Okay, that's completely fine. No open questions at the moment. What I'll do then is that I'll go. Okay, do we do any practicals? Hi, Katie. That's a great question. And what I think I'll do there, I'll say definitely yes. In fact, we've got some good questions here. I'll answer Katie's question about the practicals. So what I've got on the screen here is what we call our practical endorsement. So practicals run as a core right through the whole of the 2-year course, and we build up a portfolio of evidence for students developing practical skills. It's a whole module, actually. It's one of the 6 modules, and there's a portfolio that's built up, which students produce a practical report for all the practicals they do, and that portfolio of evidence builds into something called a practical endorsement, which is a pass-fail qualification that's awarded at the end of the course. Students pass that, not because it's easy, but because but because people understand that it's important. So yeah, practical is very, very important. So most definitely, with the practicals are important. I'll move on to Matthew's question about how big are the class sizes. So thank you, Matthew. Well, we're kind of set up for a maximum class size of 24. We tend to be a little bit lower than that. So I would say this year we've got 6 first-year classes between 20 and 22 students. That's the class sizes. But we're absolutely set up for those class sizes. We've been teaching that number of students in classes for many years now. So yeah, that's our class sizes. What will we study? Yeah, okay, good question. I mean, biology is an extremely diverse A-level, and we study all sorts of things, right from the very smallest molecules to the biology of the whole planet. So I think you know it's massively broad. I would encourage you to. I mean, I've got on the screen now the course content, so you'll recognise some of it. For example, cells and biological molecules and the way the heart works. But we also move on in the second year to some more complex biology that you maybe haven't come across before, like genetics and genetic engineering, cloning and biotechnology, and the biochemistry of photosynthesis and respiration. So it's hugely diverse, and there are, you know, I could spend hours telling you about what we study, but the information is definitely all there on the website. So if you I'll move on to Ruby's question. So Ruby, if you're going to medical research, is biology good? I would say essential. Yeah, absolutely. And we have many students who are very interested in either studying medicine or going into the medical field, and you know, we support them very carefully with their biology, and they, you know, biology will be absolutely central to any interest in medicine. So definitely yes. Move on to Oscar's question about the required GCSE results. So Oscar, we're looking, generally speaking, for 6s. So we're looking for students to have a grade 6 in their sciences. So we know that some students do 3 separate sciences. So we'd want a 6 in biology, ideally a 6 in the others as well. Or if you're doing a combined course, we'd want 6s there. We're also looking for a 6 in maths and an overall GCSE kind of profile of 5.5. So Nicole, how is the course structured? That's a good question. The course is 6 modules, and it's a fully linear course. So it's 2 years with exams, 6 hours worth of exams right at the very end of the course. And in terms of the course structure, you generally speaking have one teacher, and that teacher would teach you in a linear way all the way through the first year. You might change teacher for the second year. And basically we do modules 2, 3 and 4 in the first year, and modules 5 and 6 in the second year. And module 1, which is development of practical skills, runs through the whole of the 2 years. So that's generally how the course is structured. So Kyle, you've asked how many students overall can take biology. Well, it depends on how many students are interested, I guess. I mean, this year we have 130 students in the first year and about 90 students in the second year. So we can accommodate plenty of students. I haven't ever been in a situation where we haven't taken on any more students. So yeah, nothing to worry about that. If you want to do it and you've got the entry requirements, you feel as though it's the right course for you, then you'll be able to do it. Yeah, Elizabeth, that's a really good one about, is it easier if you've done triple science? I think some people who have done triple science, they've maybe, the kind of breadth of what they've studied is a little bit wider than those students who've done combined. So they might be a little bit more confident, but it's if you haven't done triple science, you are more than capable of studying biology A-level. There's absolutely nothing to worry about. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the exact balance, but there are many students who've done triple science, many students who've done combined science, and they're both as capable of doing biology A-level as each other. So there's no particular advantage, no. So Hannah, you've asked how many hours of biology work is there a week, college and homework. So you have 5 hours teaching per week. So you have 2 hour-and-a-half lessons and 2 hour lessons, so 4 lessons in total. But what we encourage students to do is to reflect that 5 hours of teaching time with 5 hours of independent work per week. So some of that independent work will be work that you are set by your teacher, but much of that independent work will be what we call proactive work that you understand as a biology student you should be doing to consolidate the content and to develop revision resources and to spend time learning the facts in the specification and practicing exam questions. And as the course goes on, students get more and more and more independent with their learning because they understand more and more and more how incredibly important that independent study is to them. I think that's one of the really big differences between A-level and GCSE is the degree to which your independence is important. And in biology, especially into the second year, being an independent learner is just essential to your success. But it takes time, and we support students through that. So here's a good question. I've heard it's content heavy. How long would you suggest we work at home a week? It is content heavy. There's not getting away from that. There's an awful lot of stuff to learn. I mean, it's fascinating and absolutely necessary to your understanding of biology. And we're encouraging students to spend, not maybe straight away, but certainly to be spending within the first half term or so. We need to be ramping that up to 5 hours of independent study per week. And the reason we ask students to do that is because we know from our experience that successful students, that's how much work they do a week. So yeah, is it content heavy? Absolutely. Is it brilliant and fascinating and stimulating? Yeah, it is, and it's worth spending that time. Okay, so other things in place. This is one from Ruby. Other things in place for autistic students who can't do practicals. Ruby, we have an excellent learning support team who would work very carefully with anybody with educational needs of any type to try and get them participating in some way in the practicals. We definitely talk to you and work with you so you have access to that side of the course. I mean, practical work is absolutely central to biology A-level. So we'd work with you very carefully and we'd make sure that that you could be as successful as you possibly could. I hope that's answered that one. So how much maths is involved in the course? Yeah, good question. I think there's, out of the 270 marks at the end of the course in the 6 exams, 10% of those marks are based on data interpretation and manipulation of figures, so maths basically. But then the maths isn't hugely complicated, and it's not as fundamental to the course as it might be in chemistry or physics, but it's definitely there, and it's definitely a tool that scientists use. And we mustn't be scared of that maths or hesitant about using it. We've just got to face up to it, and we know that people have different levels of confidence with their maths. It's certainly part of the course. Yeah, 10% in terms of assessment, but it kind of goes up and down as we go through the course. So there's a module that we do looking at quite a lot of statistics, so there's quite a lot of maths there, but then we might not do some maths for quite a while. It kind of goes up and down, but 10% at the end of the course in terms of the assessment. Okay, so what grades, Faith, thank you. What grades would you expect us to be working at the moment if we're taking biology? So yeah, I mean, if you're in year 11 now, I don't know if you talk to your biology teacher or your science teacher and said, what grades do you think I would be getting at the end of the course? I just think I would like you, I guess, to be working towards a grade 6. If you're working there or thereabouts, maybe a little bit low. I mean, there's plenty of time for until your GCSEs to get better and better and better, and just do the best that you can and try your very best to fulfill the entry requirements and try and get that 6, and even better than that if you possibly can. Just do your best. Okay, so Soph has said say for example, I've got 6 in my biology GCSE. Do you think I'd struggle with how hard it would be? I mean, 6 is the entry requirement. So would you struggle? Yeah, everyone will struggle with biology at some point, but then at other bits you won't struggle. So if you can get the entry requirement, so a 6 and a 6 in maths, and you're coming in with a really good kind of attitude, and you've got some good study skills, and you're really committed, and you want to work hard, and you're prepared to work hard, you'll be fine. Okay, so moving on to Mark and Molly. How does biology link to psychology? Well, yeah, good question. I think there's less of a link than some people think. There's certainly some neuroscience in there. There's a little bit of neurotransmitters, to study about neurotransmitters, and there's a little bit of crossover. The assessment style is very different though. So psychology is assessed with essays, biology is assessed without essays and short answers. So yeah, they complement each other, but I think it's probably less of an actual overlap than you think between biology and psychology. Okay, so Scarlett has said, do we do animal biology? Yes, definitely. We do animal biology and human biology, but also we do plant biology and the biology of ecosystems and the biology of microorganisms. So there's a huge diversity of biology. So I know that some people, they've always wanted to be a vet or work with animals, so they're maybe not so interested in the plant biology that we do. But you know, you have to kind of deal with that and understand that some bits of biology are maybe more suited to you than other bits. Okay, Matthew, how many hours would we have biology? So 5 hours of teaching with a teacher in front of you, and then we expect students to reflect that with 5 hours of independent study. Okay, Jake, I want to do physiotherapy. Should I take biology? Without being a careers expert, I would say yes, but I would definitely encourage you to do some research. If you go on the Gcse website, which is the University Entries website, and just type in physiotherapy as the course you're interested in doing, then you'll find out the entry requirements for physiotherapy from all sorts of different universities in the country. And I think you'll probably find that most of them are looking for biology A level, but I might be wrong. Things change all the time with university entries. I'd encourage you to do some research with that. But then physiotherapy, it's all about the human body and how the human body works, and manipulating and treating the human body. It feels a bit weird for me to be applying for a physiotherapy course and not having biology A level. It's a little bit the same with medicine, I think. So I think probably yes is the answer. You're going to need biology to do physiotherapy. Okay, so how long are the lessons and how many do you have a week? You have 4 lessons a week. 2 of them are an hour and a half, and 2 of them are an hour, so 5 hours in total. Okay, Lena, you've said which exam board? So we study OCR. Olivia has said, are there any field trips? Yes, that's a good one, actually. We don't go on a big residential field trip. No, we don't. We go out and we do a little bit of sampling on Abbey Road playing fields, which is just up the road. I think the specification has got some field work in there in terms of sampling techniques, but it's quite limited. So we don't go on a big residential field course because we feel as though that wouldn't be a great use of our time. So we've always kind of considered it, and we don't do that. We do our field work very locally. So hopefully that's answered your question about field work. How often do we study a week? Well, we do 5 hours a week of lessons, and then you're also reflecting that in the independent work that you're doing, and it's up to you to manage your time in that respect. Okay, Katie, so does the course link to the environment if I was wanting to do environmental studies at uni? Absolutely, yes, I would say. I think, again, there are some studying some aspects of ecosystems and biodiversity. So we definitely study the environment. And I think, again, if you looked at the UCAS University Entrance website and looked at environmental science courses, I think biology A-level would be right up there in terms of one of the entry requirements. So yeah, absolutely. We have many students who are really interested in the environment. You know, it's a massively important and very kind of newsworthy and emotive kind of subject at the moment. Very, very carefully linked and closely linked to biology. Okay, so Jamie, you said, is this a good course to take for someone looking to go on to do forensic science? I would say yes, but I would hesitate a little bit, because I know you can get into forensic science without biology A-level. You don't need biology A-level to get into forensic science. And again, I think it's a case of doing your research and looking at the entry requirements to forensic science university courses and seeing what they're looking for in terms of A-levels. And I think you'll find some of the courses are looking for biology A-level, and then some of them maybe not, and maybe looking for possibly applied science, which we know many of our forensic science students, or students who are interested in forensic science, they go the applied science route. We also, maybe criminology would work well. So not absolutely essential, I would say, biology. But again, do your research. Okay, so Elena, you've asked what subjects does it work well with, which is a good question. I think traditionally, if you want to go into the sciences, then people do biology, and they do chemistry, and they maybe do physics or maths. That's a very traditional sort of set of A-levels. But then also people are very diverse about their choices. So some students are doing biology as their only science, and they're looking at doing maybe geography and geology. They link quite nicely. Psychology links in, as I've mentioned before, or something very contrasting. So history or art or English. It kind of depends on where you're headed. I think if you're definitely going to progress into the sciences, I would do biology with another science, and the one that links best is chemistry. So many of our biology students are also doing chemistry A-level, but it kind of depends where you want to go. You can do biology with any combination of subjects. Okay, I hope that helped. So educational trips and visits. Do you know, not really, to be honest, in biology. We go on a field trip, but that really is just a trip up the road to Abbey Road Plainfields, where we do some sampling with some quadrats. So we know we don't have a big residential field trip. We have found historically that it doesn't kind of suit the specification, and we wouldn't gain as much as we wanted to from a residential field trip. Okay, so what's the average grade for biology? Olivia, I'm not quite sure what you mean. In terms of students and the results that they get, I mean, our results, not this year because of the cancelling of the exams, but previous to that, we had 54% of students gaining what we call high grades, which is A star to B. So that's significantly above the national average. We were very proud of those results. You know, if you're a hard-working student and you follow all the advice and you're really committed, you're going to do well in biology. You're in a good place in QE to do well in biology, to be successful in biology. Okay. So how the classes set? Well, Laura, there aren't any sets as such. The classes are set with I guess mixed ability, I suppose. You don't get a top set and a middle set and a bottom set. So there are 6 first-year classes at the moment, and they have an equal spread of ability in all 6 classes. I guess that the way they're set is by what works with the timetable, and students obviously have to be able to do the courses that they've chosen. So I guess that dictates who's in what class. So Matthew, is there any biochemistry in the course? Yeah, absolutely. In fact, quite a lot, I would say. So students are interested in biochemistry, and it's a really popular course. There's you know, would definitely, those students would be doing biology and they'll be doing chemistry as well. So yeah, there's a module or a chapter at the moment we're doing called biological molecules. We look at the biochemistry of respiration and photosynthesis. So yeah, there's a good biological content in there. So Ruby, my favorite module. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's I'm not sure. I'm extremely enthusiastic about the whole course. I think it's fascinating, and I think I don't know, to pick out one as a favorite, I think wouldn't be fair to the others in some respects. Yeah, I like my physiology. That was my degree at university. So I like the cardiac physiology and muscle physiology, but I also like the molecular biology side of things. I like the biochemistry side of things, but then I like the ecology side of things. So yeah, that's not a fair question, and I'm not going to pick out any favorites, but I like your question. Thank you. So Laura, you said if we don't get a 6 in maths, we get 6 in all 3 sciences, could we still go onto the course? Yeah, we do get students who maybe haven't been entered into the higher tier for their maths, so they kind of can't get a 6, or they just miss a 6. We treat students as individuals, and the enrollment procedure, we would talk to you about that, and we would have a careful conversation with you about your results. We'd look at all of your results across the board. We'd look at your motivation for wanting to do biology, and we'd have an in-depth conversation, and we certainly wouldn't write a student off for not getting a 6 in maths. So yeah, don't worry too much about it. Obviously do your best to get a 6 in maths if you possibly can, but don't worry too much about it. So Hannah, what are the results typically like in biology? Well, we get good results in biology. The last time we had some proper exams, which obviously wasn't last year but the year before, we had 54% of students gaining a high grade, which is A star to B. 100% of students passed, and that high grade rate was definitely significantly above the national average. So we're quite proud of our results in biology. If you're prepared to work hard and take advice, you'll fulfill your potential in biology, definitely. So Sophie said, what's a pass at A level? A pass at A level is an E grade. You know, there are some students on the course who have a really positive time studying biology for 2 years, and they maybe come out with a grade which is a D grade or even an E grade. I must admit, we don't have many students who get E grades, but let's say a D grade, we have some students who get D grades, and they've worked really hard and they've had a very positive time. They've found it challenging, but they've come out with a grade that they can be really proud of, that reflects, you know, their potential in biology. And that's the idea. A pass in biology is an E grade or a D or a C. And some students are coming onto the course, and that's the grade they're likely to get at the end. And that enables them to progress to university, or maybe onto a foundation course at university. Okay, so Jessica, you said, what happens if you don't get 6s in biology and maths? I think we've got to be, I mean, the entry requirements are there for a very, very good reason. Biology is an academically demanding course. And if we're talking to students who are missing entry requirements in their biology and their maths, then we'd have to have a very careful conversation with those students about whether wanting to do biology is a realistic thing and a sensible thing for them to choose to fulfill their potential at the end of the 2 years. So again, do your best, and if your best at your GCSEs involves getting 5s in maths and 5s in biology, then come to QE and we'll talk to you about getting you onto absolutely the set of subjects that suits you and your potential best. And if that's biology A level, okay. If it's not biology A level, also okay. And we'll give you loads of advice and point you in the right direction. So Leslie, nice to see you. Why do you need maths? Yeah, fair question. I think maths is maths is a tool that scientists use to analyze data and to dive into data in more depth. And as biologists, we mustn't be scared of that, because biologists are scientists, just like physicists and chemists and biochemists and whatever. So yeah, biology is something. Oh, sorry, maths is definitely something that we need to embrace in biology. It's 10% of the assessment at the end of the course, and we get stuck in there straight away with the maths. It isn't particularly horrible maths, like I think some, it's not beyond high level GCSE maths, but we've got to, as I've said a couple of times now, we've got to embrace the mathematical components of the course, because it's most definitely there. So Faith, what type of different careers can you go into after taking A-level biology? Well, yeah, good question. You can go into, the biological sciences. So you can go into genetics and genetic engineering. You can go into ecology. Biotechnology is an exploding area of employment. But then also the skills that you learn in your biology A-level are applicable to all sorts of other different areas. So the thinking skills and your skills of analyzing data and writing concisely are applicable to all sorts of different careers. You can go into medicine. I mean, many of our students are interested in the medical field, and that's why they're doing biology. So yeah, biological sciences, medicine, the environment, but also much wider than that. It's very applicable, as I say, the skills that you learn in the biology course to all sorts of subjects. Okay, so Scarlett, you've asked what kind of practicals would we do? We do all sorts of different practicals. I mean, if I just scroll down on this page, now I don't know whether people can still see this page. If you look at this triangle here, that's called the PAG triangle. So that's the practical activity group triangle. So on the bottom left, it goes microscopy and then dissection. So we do 4 or 5 dissections over the 2 years, ranging from a fish head to a heart and a kidney. It's a plant dissection as well. We then do sampling, enzyme catalyzed reactions. We use chromatography. We look at research skills. We look at plant and animal responses. So all sorts of different practicals, a big diversity of practicals. Okay, so hopefully that's answered your question about the practicals. How are we doing for time? We're just 7:30 now, so I'll keep going for another few minutes, if that's okay. I've still got lots and lots and lots of questions. I don't promise to be able to answer them all, because they keep coming, which is great. If you do have any questions that I haven't managed to answer, then you're welcome to email me, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. So I'll just keep going here. So would you recommend biology for a degree to do with renewable energy? Yes, I think so. That sounds as though biology would be relevant, because renewable energy is all, I guess, about environmental science, but then maybe physics and maths as well, possibly, if you're interested in the physics side of how renewable energy works. So yeah, it depends on exactly where you're headed with renewable energy, but I certainly think certain aspects of that would be relevant with biology. Okay, if you don't need biology for forensic science, what would you suggest? Yeah, okay, Laura, I would certainly look at applied science. I would look at criminology. I would look at chemistry. I think biology kind of goes with forensic science. I just think that there's quite a wide variety of subjects that also go with forensic science. Okay, so Emily, are these webinars going to be available on the website after tonight? Do you know what? I don't think they're being recorded.
No, they are being recorded. They will be.
They are being recorded.
Yeah, so they will be on the college website later tonight. Later on this week. Okay,
thank you, Paul. Emily, there you go. That answers your question. They are recorded, and they're going to be on the website afterwards. Yeah. So I want to be a zoologist. What should I take along with biology? Well, you definitely have to take biology. I would say look at the entry requirements for zoology courses. So do your research on the UCAS website, see what the zoology courses are wanting. I would say they're probably looking, many of them, for 2 sciences. So they might want to look. You might want to look at chemistry as well, or maybe psychology or maths, or geology or geography, something like that. But again, I think it depends on the entry requirements for the zoology courses. Leo, are there tests at the end of each module? We're quite hot on assessment. So yes, pretty much. Sometimes not. Sometimes we have kind of double chapter tests, but you know, the assessment is so important at the end of the course that we get students used to being assessed right from the very word go, and eventually it just becomes part of the course and people get good at assessments. We don't want them to be kind of surprised by the assessments at the end of the course. So yeah, we get assessments we assess very regularly. So Laura, you said as a wide cover, would biology be suitable for forensics on the wide scale of thing? Yeah, Laura, absolutely. I'm not trying to put you off you taking biology and applying for forensic science. Absolutely not, not doing that. Again, I think you need to do your research and look at forensic science at university and see what they're looking for. You know, I think if biology is something you would like to do, it certainly is a great way into forensic science. Okay, so if you want to be a midwife, would biology be good? Yes, I think so. Again, I'm not a careers expert. I keep coming back to this idea about doing research. Go and find out how, or the entry requirements for midwifery courses. I think there are different ways into midwifery, actually. I think one of the ways in is with biology A-levels. So again, I'd do some research there. So how many of the students succeed in applying to medical school? As a college, I think QE are good at getting students into medical school because so many students apply. So we identify students who are applying for medicine very early on in the course, and we support them carefully through their application. How many students? I think that varies year on year. I'd have to talk to the careers people about last year and the year before. You know, I think if you put in a high quality application and you're called for interview and you get the right grades, and QE is a good place to get the right grades from, then you'll get in. Although it's incredibly competitive as a course is medicine. So we certainly get students who don't get in. Certainly one student I'm thinking about this year didn't get an offer, but he's having another go this year, and you know, he's very likely to get an offer eventually and get onto a medical course. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 or 3 more questions here. So, do you need biology to be an occupational therapist? I'm not sure about that, actually. Again, I'd have to look into that from a careers perspective and do some research. My gut feeling says yes, but again, I'm not an expert in that respect. Okay, would you need maths for forensic studies, Laura? Again, I don't think it would be a need. I think if you're a strong mathematician, it would certainly be beneficial, and you definitely get onto a forensics course with maths. But I wouldn't say that it's an absolute requirement. Again, do some research. The minimum grade you have to get at GCSE to take to A-level. For me, that would be a 6, which is our entry requirement. And then Ruby, last question this is the class fun? Yeah, sometimes, absolutely. And sometimes not. Sometimes I'm sure some students feel as though it's hard work and the fun is quite a long way away. But then sometimes it's just brilliant, and learning something complicated and academically challenging. I think there has to be a bit of fun in there. I hope there is, at least. Okay, so thank you very much for people for coming along tonight, and hopefully I've done my best with those questions and giving you a little bit more of insight into what it's like to study biology at QE. So yeah, thank you very much. It's been good fun. Thanks for your questions.